So welcome to a new Game Stuff episode, and there's not a lot of stuff in this episode. It's not a crazy amount of piles of stuff or anything like that, but everything I picked up, like usual, are things that I really like and I really want to pick up. And it's funny, the first few items all relate to each other, and it's kind of cool and kind of weird. It's got its ups and downs and some things that peeve me off like a lot, and we're gonna get into that. So I've been playing a lot of RType Final 2, and I've been loving it, and I don't know, I've been going into this whole RType zone, and I really love the franchise. I've even said that the first game, for me personally, is a 10 out of 10 game, so I've really been enjoying playing RType Final 2, and just the ship, you know, the arrowhead, I just love it. So some days I sit on my patio and I do this from memory, I just draw the RType ship, different designs that it's something I want to do. I want to kind of express how much I love the design of the ships. And so I just start drawing them and all that kind of stuff. So had a lot of fun with that. And I'm like, man, I'm in such an RType mood. It's really kind of funny. And then me and Kim go out shopping at our local mall, and there is like an anime store. And it sells model kits and all sorts of cool things. And while I'm walking in the store, I'm like, I'm not buying anything or anything like that. And I look down and I'm like, oh my God, I'm buying this. I have to buy this. It is like calling to me. It's saying, you know, you have to own me. You have to own me. You know you want me. And that was right here. This is ridiculous. It is the R9 Arrowhead from RType Final right here. And I opened it all up and I'm like, this is ridiculous. There was so many pieces to it, and I'm like, I have to dedicate an entire afternoon to doing this, to putting this thing together. And here's where things kind of go a little bit south, and I am fully to blame for this, I know. So I look in looking at the box and inside all the different colors and stuff, I'm like, this thing is going to look amazing. Where I spend the afternoon, and I'm like, thank God I work with Warhammer miniatures, so I have all the special cutting devices and things like that. And it even needed glue. Like most of these model kits these days are snapped together, and the whole thing's snapped together. But there's some pieces of it that are like, you need glue, and I'm like, thank God I have model glue and stuff like that. So I'm gonna show you here. I was very disappointed with the outcome. And I have myself to blame because I haven't made a model kit in, 20 plus years of this kind, at least. And I was really disappointed because I thought it would look a lot more like the cover. And of course, here it is all together. It doesn't quite have that. You see, it needs to be painted. It needs to be painted. And I wish I knew that going in, that it needed to be painted. I'm like, oh, I would have painted all the pieces first. I honestly thought it was going to come together and look okay. And then when I assembled it all and I looked at it, I was like, this sucks. So now my thought process is I'm going to go in and I'm going to paint this. I'm going to go in and I just wish I knew ahead of time, so I could have done it a little bit better by painting the whole like sheet of plastic first rather than that. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I'm going to have to spend a bit more time on this thing, and I must admit, very disappointed. I wish I painted it ahead of time, but I love the design. I think it's so cool. I think it's so awesome. And I love RType Final. Big fan of that. So that was disappointing, but what wasn't disappointing was this showing up. Look at this. The RType Vinyl Original Soundbox Collection. And I got this from NIS America. I ordered it ages ago and it showed up, and I'm like, this is a very special afternoon to sit and listen to RType music. And RType is it's a great series. I've been going on about it here for I don't know how long, and so I can't wait to listen to the music. It's the arcade music and all of that stuff, and quite a few other games in there. So had some fun and some not so fun with RType. So my next game I picked up a couple of months ago. It was a recommendation from a friend because I asked them, what have you been playing? What have you been up to? And they're like, oh, I'm playing the new Guilty Gear. I'm like, there's a new Guilty Gear? I'm like, really? And you know me, my head is in video games quite a lot, but sometimes games can slip past me. And Guilty Gear Strive passed me by, and I've had it in a small pile, and I was like, yeah, when I do it in a new game stuff episode, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to play it. And so I'll be talking about this in the future for games I've been playing, because this is awesome. And what can I say about this game? Over the years, I've always appreciated the Guilty Gear series for what it looks like aesthetically, and the characters are so wild and crazy and interesting, and I'm like, I love this. But I've always been more of a Street Fighter guy. I've always been playing those games more, but from a distance, I've always loved this stuff. But my God, I have never in my life seen such a good-looking, beautiful fighting game. It's honestly, we've been seeing it over the years, like anime coming to life in a game where it really looks like the anime now, and the 3D design and stuff like that is wow. So I'm looking forward to sitting and playing this. It's like, I had to get the PS5 version, right? Because it's going to look fantastic on the 4K TV. And so this is excitement right here. Okay, this is on Game Pass, and I could play it for free right now, but it's been calling to me. It's been calling to me for a while. The roguelike game, Hades. Have any of you guys played this game? What are your thoughts on it? Are you enjoying it? Do you dislike it? All I watched about this game was a making of online where the development crew was working on it, and they were getting ready to ship it. And I thought that was such an interesting documentary. I really enjoyed that. And I was like, you know, I should give it a go. I do like the art style. I like the character designs are awesome. They're really detailed and look really, really cool. So roguelike games, I wouldn't say I'm bad at them, but they're not games I aspire to get crazy with. But this game took me over the edge, and I can't wait to try this out, but had to pick it up as well. Now, another game that's been pre-ordered for me for a very long time, the great Attorney Chronicles, right here. Have any of you guys been playing this? This is another game that I saw, and I'm like, I love the Ace Attorney series, and I just like the game setting. I love Ace Attorney games, objection, and getting to the bottom of it, and getting that witness on the stand, and really taking them through the ringer. I love that so much, and I haven't even seen any reviews on this. It arrived, and I'm like, I'm gonna play this game, but I'm like, what are the reviews? How's it doing? Probably pretty okay, right? Next up, this is unusual as well. I have 2 copies of this game, and I forgot that I ordered 2 copies of it. One, there was a markdown on, I think it was like EB Games I got it from. And this game is not being reviewed high. Some people like it, some people do not. I have not tried it, but I am a huge fan of Alex Kidd. And this is Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX, a reimagined version of that original Master System game, which I'm quite fond of, because Nintendo had Mario, and Sega had Alex Kidd and Opa Opa and Fantasy Zone. So I'm really a big fan of the old Sega mascot characters, and I wonder how this one's gonna be. So this arrived, and then all of a sudden, this arrived as well. I forgot I ordered this. This one I definitely knew I ordered, and this is the signature edition. And I was like, even if the game is not the hottest, I'll support it because, it's Alex Kidd, and it still pulls on the heartstrings of my old Sega lore and the good old days of playing on the Master System. So that's what this represents to me in the collection, and the artwork isn't too bad. It's rather a lot of fun there. So give me your reviews of this game down below. I'd be scarily curious to know. Okay. I had to break and get these Joy-Cons. The Skyward Sword Joy-Cons. How could I not get these? I saw them and I'm like, man, these are great. And they were a little bit hard to track down. I eventually got them from Best Buy, and they came in a real squished up box, and I thought, oh, this is going to be all destroyed and all of that kinds of thing. But I really like getting these Joy-Cons every once in a while. I don't buy a lot of accessories. I don't buy a crazy ton of them. But when I do, I get the Skyward Sword Joy-Cons because they're pretty cool looking. All right, you knew this was going to happen. I've reviewed Ys 9 Monstrum Nox numerous times on the channel, and I really like the game. I think on the Switch it's the weakest version, and it's not the version that I would recommend if somebody hasn't played it, and has multiple ways to play it on different machines. If you've got a PS5, play on there with the update. It's incredible. But the PS4 version's the way to go. And the Switch version is fun though. It's playable, but there is some frame rate issues, and know that absolutely. But that did not stop me from ordering a long time ago the Switch Special Edition right here. And yeah, when it arrived, I'm like, wait, is this the PS4 version? No, I had the PS4 version, so I wanted the PS4 version Special Edition and the Switch Special Edition. I'm satisfied now. I had to get these. I got them for Ys 8, and I'm happy I did. And man, he's so crazy. I get them because I'm an Ys fan, number one. But these things go for a ridiculous amount of money nowadays. The Ys 8 ones do. I looked at the price of those, and I'm like, really? Oh my god! Like it's funny when you're collecting. And you're collecting because you love stuff, and then it's a shock to to see some games you bought because you liked, all of a sudden they're worth a lot of money, and you're kind of in shock. You're like, oh, maybe it's just because I have good taste in video games. And I think that's the thing. Video games retain value because they're good games, number one. And Ys 9, Monster of Nox, is an excellent game. It's one of my games of the year. That is for sure. This is a very, very cute thing here. And oh my god. So I know a guy at hyperplayrpg.com, and he sent this over. And this is cool. This is really, really cool. So Xenoblade Chronicles X didn't come with an instruction manual. It didn't come with the instruction manual. And a lot of people complained about that, where these guys created an instruction manual for the game in English. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think this is so awesome and really, really cool to see. And me and Rob have talked about it over the years. I remember back in the day, you'd buy a game and you'd open the instruction manual. I even had Rob's brother in the show over that said he would open up the instruction manual and he'd read that cover to cover before he even thought about playing the game, where me and Rob would just jump right in sometimes and just play the games, where the instruction manual used to be a very big deal. Now the instructions are usually made into the games themselves. I totally get that, and it's a little bit easier. The tutorials, the way they are in games now. So these things have become a bit of an old relic, and it's really great that they brought this out. And I really appreciate this, and I think it's a really hot item. I mean, so cool that they spent the time to do this. This instruction manual, again, I think that's so awesome. Now, one of my favorite episodes I've done this summer, I've done a few. One of them was Rob's brother being on the show. That was awesome. And the other one was recapping one of my favorite summers with Rob, playing video games, playing the Dreamcast in that era. And I really got lost in that universe and that time period. And I've watched the episode myself quite a few times because it brings me back. And I get all nostalgic about it. And I'm, oh my god, I love that time so much. It was such a great time in video gaming. And I think video gaming is great now. But man, I'm allowed to appreciate certain things as well. Times in my youth, right? And that's kind of what it is. So me and Rob were talking excessively about Power Stone and Blue Stinger. And the Blue Stinger love was flowing so much that day that after, after Rob left, I got onto eBay and I'm like, I've got to get this. It's something that I've wanted for years, and I should have bought it the day it came out, but I just passed off and I didn't get it. And that is the Blue Stinger Strategy Guide right here. I mean, you could buy it back in the day for $12. I mean, it goes for a little bit more than that now. It wasn't that expensive. It wasn't that bad. But to own, like, the game isn't good. The game is not a great game. I just want to say that to begin with. We've talked about it. Me and Rob have got to do a full review again. We reviewed it nearly 12 plus years ago now. But to review it again, it's not a great game, but it was showing you what the Dreamcast could do. And we were excited about it. And even though it had its flaws, we enjoyed the game quite a lot. And to get a strategy guide from the Dreamcast era, for me, is such a special thing, and it's something I really like. And it's flipping through and seeing memories and seeing, oh my god, the vending machines in this game and all that kinds of crazy stuff, and Elliot Blood and what happens in Dinosaur Island. Really, really great stuff. So guys, have you been picking up anything recently? Let me know down below. That's just some of the stuff that I picked up in the last month and a half or so. So anyways guys, until next time.